Do you want financial freedom, but it just seems out of reach? And you're tired of constantly worrying about saving every penny and you feel like you're missing out on life? What if there was a way to align your spending with your values that allows you to live life, but also still save for early retirement at the same time? Welcome back to our financial fantasy journey to DFIRE. And if you're confused of what DFIRE is, it's a modified approach to the traditional FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, except modified to use emerging technology like crypto, NFTs, and AI to hopefully accelerate the process. We're teaching concepts through the metaphor of exploring a financial fantasy world called Digitaria, which the end goal is reaching the promised land, the fabled land of DFIRE. Digital, financial independence, retire early. So if you missed any of our previous quests, no problem. Catch up on the video playlist right here. Let's hop back into our adventure, going back to Budget Baggins, who's the wise mentor of the Frugal Foothills, and he was just about to start training. He started our training by leading us to the entrance of the labyrinth of temptation. He enters and we follow in stride. As we step into the labyrinth, the walls shimmer and start to shift, leading us towards a grand enchanted edifice, the timeless library. This library is a magnificent sight with towering bookshelves reaching out to the starlit ceiling. Each bookway is a gateway to a different experience. An animated Budget Baggins looks over and announces, "Welcome, brave ones, to the timeless library. Here, you can live any experience you desire." The room is packed. There are other heroes joining in on the challenge as we look around and wonder. Each of them is drawn to a different book based on their values and passion. But there's a catch. Each of you has a gold pouch of coins, your budget. And you can only spend it on these book worlds, but you need to have enough to reach your ultimate goal of DFIRE. But if you don't, you're kicked out and you have to start your adventure all the way back from where you started. One by one, the heroes make their choices, spending their coins on experiences that truly matter to them, but some waste their money. In this part of the adventure, this scenario isn't much different from our regular life. Like our heroes, you need to align your spending and your budgeting with your values and your goals. This way, you'll be spending on what really matters to you and cutting back on what doesn't. And this is known as value-based frugality. Value-based frugality is all about maximizing your happiness while minimizing your spending. And it's about making mindful decisions that align with your values without compromising your well-being or your fulfillment. Spending this money guilt-free as long as you prioritize your long-term savings and investment goals first. This way you can enjoy life without sacrificing it completely and missing out on some of the best experiences that you may have while you're on your journey to FIRE. My own personal values have changed over the years. I used to spend a lot more money on nicer clothes, eating out, my car. But as I've aged, I started to care less about my clothes. I reduced my eating out budget. I used to drive a terrible looking beater car, which I sold recently because this makes sense for me because I'm not a car guy and I don't value a car besides getting me from point A to point B. So not having a nice car doesn't matter to me. But for you and some of my friends, they love cars. And it might be different for you. So you want to adjust your spending based on your own values and beliefs, what drives your happiness. There's no judgment on your spending as long as you're still prioritizing and on track for your longer term financial goals. And you can always choose to take that money, save it, and invest it to get to FIRE faster, or you can delay early retirement for a little bit later but enjoy life a little bit more. And it's what I like about value-based frugality because it's up to you and what you find meaningful and what gives you fulfillment. Here are some tips for practicing value-based frugality. One of the first things you want to do is identify your core values. Your values are just a fancy psychological term that we use to say what we find is important. You want to think about the different activities and the experiences and the people that have made you the happiest. You want to consider your passions, your interests. What are you passionate about? What hobbies and activities do you enjoy most? You're gonna look for recurring themes in your life. Are there patterns? Are there themes that just keep showing up in your life? Next, you wanna see if there are any common threads between all of them. Then you're gonna create a list of your top 5 to 10 values or more based on what you found. List out your most important values. This is gonna serve as your foundation for your value-based frugality, your spending, your budgeting, so it's easier to know what to cut and what to keep and what to save on. 2, create a value-based budget. We're gonna use the 50, 30, 20 budget from the last videos. If you're confused, you can click the link above and catch up. Let's abbreviate the 50, 30, 20 to just FTT. You're gonna allocate your income to different categories and prioritizing those that align with your values and your objectives. For me and my wife, we love traveling, we love experiences, and we love spending time with friends and family. So we have a spending category that is dedicated to only this. It comes out of our overall wants budget and bucket, and because we're on track for our needs and our investments and savings account, this allows us to spend this money guilt-free. And part of that wants account is a guilt-free spending budget that gives us the ability to spend anything as long as we don't go over budget. So we can have fun with it without feeling guilty, hence the word guilt-free. That's why I love building in a guilt-free spending account, which is something I originally learned from Ramit Sethi, the author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich. So because you prioritize your long-term goals and you're on track to hit your long-term goals, your FIRE goals, early retirement, and your other savings goal, you can allocate a portion of your income to guilt-free spending, not needing to feel guilty on being able to spend that money because it's been allocated for you to enjoy and to spend and to find fulfillment in. Regardless of what that is, you're still making overall long-term progress, and that's what's most important. This is gonna be an ongoing thing, so you wanna continue to track your expenses because whatever gets measured gets improved. Peter Drucker. And eventually you get in a rhythm of doing this where you get to the point where you can do the FTT flip, where we start to flip the traditional 50, 30, 20 rule on its head, and we start to allocate 50% or more of your income towards savings and investings, but you just start to ruthlessly cut on the things that don't matter to you. You're gonna review your 50, 30, 20 or your FTT budget. And originally, just allocated 50% to your needs, 30% to your wants, and then 20% to savings and investments. Your goal is to shift these percentages and to save more and to invest more aggressively. Very few can make that shift so drastically, so you want to have it be a slow and gradual change, because I found that's worked best instead of just trying to change all your financial habits at once. 2, you want to categorize your expenses within FTT. So we divided your overall expenses into needs, wants, and investing and savings. So for me personally, I separate my accounts into further buckets: food, gas, guilt-free, groceries, travel, miscellaneous expenses, business expenses, savings, investments, crypto, and rent. In the beginning, I did not start out like that, but as I got more comfortable, I started to incorporate more complexity and started to analyze my budgets and started to save more in those specific categories. And some people prefer to keep it simple. So if you want it simple, just keep it that way. You just want to keep experimenting till you find what works for you. 3, strategize your spending reductions. So here you're just gonna identify where you can cut back on your wants or potentially some of your needs without compromising your quality of life. So consider substituting expensive products or habits with more cost-effective alternatives. And because we value traveling and experiences, this is a large portion of our wants budget, because it's safe for traveling, and this is a place we don't look to cut unless we absolutely need to, because we plan ahead and we save the money that we need to go on the vacations that we want without going into debt and working with the budgets that we have. Keep track and analyzing your expenses. It's always an ongoing process. A quick monthly check is one thing that I still do to this day, just to make sure I'm not overspending and that I'm on track with my overall financial goal. In the end, you, our hero, emerges from the timeless library with your heart full of joy, still holding on to enough coins to continue your journey to the promised land of DFIRE. You have passed this trial by learning how to balance your present enjoyment with your future financial goals. Like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next video where we talk about the magic of automation on our next part of the journey.